Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Monday morning, you know what time it is. It's time to dominate another weekly test. I cannot believe how well you guys did on the last one. If you look at that Perfection Club, we have names from almost every single student that I have. So we really dominated that one. We did a nice job on that one. That one was asking about the plot of a story and making inferences about characters. This week's is about nonfiction, problem and solutions, and how they have to be linked together. The problem and the solution have to be linked together because they're going to try to trick you on this. And also, you make inferences or guesses in nonfiction as well. So they're going to throw a couple inference questions at you here. Not inferences about characters, but inferences about what you learned and then make some judgments about that. And then, of course, on your writing subtests, we were talking all about comparative and superlative adjectives. Okay, so what kind of adjective compares two things, and what kind of adjective compares more than two things. All right, so let's take a peek at what we're looking at. Let's dominate this one again. All right, so the text, let me just grab a pen here. The text is called The Trouble with Cane Toads. So they already tell me what the problem is. There's a problem with a particular kind of toad called a cane toad. Okay, that's the overall problem, but we have to make sure that we are connecting problems and solutions. Okay, what are the problems with the cane toads, but also is there other problems that are presented here? So don't be tricked. This is a little bit tougher text because it's a little bit longer and the questions are a little trickier. So let's just go through the questions real quick. Okay, first question says, why did cane toads fail to solve the cane beetle problem? Okay, so they're giving you the problem. The problem was cane beetles. But we're looking for why the toads couldn't solve the problem. Not what problems that the cane toads themselves created, but why could they not solve the cane beetle problem? So your options are, they had poison in their skin. Would that stop them from solving the cane beetle problem? I don't know. They came from South America. Would that stop them from solving a problem? I don't know. They couldn't jump high enough. Is that the reason why they couldn't solve the problem? Or they ate animals native to Australia. That is certainly a problem, but did that make it so that the toads could not solve the problem of the cane beetles? See how I'm telling you it's a little confusing? Probably confusing because I haven't read the text yet either. So let me just read the first paragraph and you can read along with me. Have this video open and available while you're taking the test and you'll be much more successful. The trouble with cane toads. In 1935, farmers in Australia had a problem. They wanted to grow sugar cane. However, a bug called the cane beetle kept eating their crops. The farmers found a toad in South America that they hoped would eat this beetle. All right, so they already told us what the problem was. Farmers in Australia have a problem with cane beetles, and they brought a toad over that they hoped would help with their problem. Let's see if they helped with their problem. Thousands of these toads were brought to Australia. However, oh, that's a key word. That's one of those signal words. However, that's like a but, right? The cane toads could not jump high enough to catch the cane beetles. Instead, they found other things to eat. I think we have an answer. All right. They ate bugs and frogs that were native to Australia. Soon, there were millions of cane toads everywhere taking over ponds and farmland. So why could the cane toads not help with the cane beetle problem? See how it's tricky? They give you plenty of problems, more than one problem in the story, in the article. But they're only asking about one problem, the beetle problem. So why couldn't they fix the beetle problem? All right? Very specific, so don't get tripped up on that one. Okay? Read it slowly, talk it out, and then do your best. Number 2, why did cane toads take over ponds and farmlands? Hey, I just saw that. Just saw ponds and farmland. Let's see. There were lots of cane beetles to eat. Trying to get tricky on you. They didn't have any natural enemies. The farmers were afraid to touch them. They were bigger than the other animals. Okay, let's see. None of these were specifically mentioned yet. So that's can be tricky, right? That can be tricky. They haven't specifically mentioned it. Sometimes when we don't have the exact wordage, then it makes it a little bit difficult. But if we look at A, there were lots of cane beetles to eat. We just found out that they couldn't eat them, right? So that can't be it. They didn't have any natural enemies. Now it doesn't say that specifically, but does that make sense? I don't know. Farmers were afraid to touch them. Would that make them take over ponds and farmlands? Maybe. They were bigger than the other animals. I've seen some Australian movies, and they have some pretty good-sized animals. If this cane toad is bigger than all the other animals, I'd be scared myself. I don't know if that's true. Let's see. Part of the reason the cane toads took over is because they are poisonous. On their skin is a powerful poison that has been known to kill dogs and crocodiles. Even after a cane toad dies, its skin remains poisonous. Instead of solving their beetle problem, the people of Australia created an even bigger toad problem. They've tried many things to fix it, like Toad Day Out events. On a Toad Day Out, people gather and try to catch as many toads as they can. This has not solved the problem. Australians hope the meat ant might help. A meat ant is a very hungry insect. It is not bothered by cane toad poison. People hope that these ants can help control the toad population. They also hope that bringing in a new animal doesn't cause a new problem as the cane toad did. Could you imagine them making the same mistake twice? Ay. So let's go back to 2. Because some of these are just factually incorrect, right? And not mentioned. Okay, you can make sense. It makes sense that farmers were afraid to touch them, but it doesn't come out and say that. It makes sense that they didn't have any natural enemies, but it doesn't come out and say that. And it makes sense that they are bigger than some of the other animals, but I never said that they were bigger than the other animals. So that leaves us, I think, with B and C. Don't you? So what makes more sense that would make their numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger? The fact that they don't have any natural enemies to eat them or kill them, or that the farmers are afraid to touch them? What would make their numbers explode? Okay, do your best on that one. That's a tricky one. Okay, remember, we make inferences, we make guesses as best we can, even in nonfiction. Number 3, according to the article, what is a possible solution to the current cane toad problems? What's one possible solution to the cane toad problem? Bringing in meat ants, spraying them with poison, letting crocodiles chase them, or having more cane toad events? Okay, remember, problem and solution is set up. The problem is set up right in the beginning, and the solution is usually towards the end. So if you're not quite sure about which one you want to pick, check out what they're talking about in the last paragraph. Next, the cane beetles were safe from the toads because the beetles were, this is what we need to make a guess. It never said where the cane beetles were, but it did say that the cane toads could not jump high enough to catch them. So which one would tell you that they are in a high spot? Swimming in ponds, crawling on the ground, native to Australia, or high up on sugarcane stalks? Oh, got it. All right, here we go. Superlative and comparative adjectives. You're either comparing two things or you're comparing more than two things. Now, some of these you're going to be able to understand because you know that they're not a word. Batter is not a word. Okay, it doesn't sound right. Okay, but just double check, read the entire sentence. Let's see. My dad told me not to scratch or else it would feel much badder. It would feel much worse. It would feel much worst. Or it would feel much bad. Okay, which one sounds the best? I always go with the sound, right? Okay. Number 2, the rule was if it's 3 syllables or more, in other words, if it's a big word, you're not going to add it to the end, you're going to add it to the beginning. So Frustrating is the word that we're looking at. Frustratingest doesn't make any sense because it's too long, right? So it's either more frustrating or most frustrating. Remember, the R in more tells me that I'm just comparing two things. But the ST in most tells me I'm comparing more than two things. In other words, I'm, let's see, I am taller than you. I'm the tallest in the whole class, right? R and ST, even whether they're in the front or the back, they mean the same thing. So more means you're comparing two things. Most means you're comparing more than two, okay? Let's see, that was number 2. Trying not to scratch was the blank thing I had ever done. Okay, so of all the things you have done you done more than 2 things? Probably, right? So is it was the more frustrating thing I have ever done or the most frustrating thing I've ever done? I think you got that one. Okay, here's one that is a test of your spelling, because itchy ends with a Y, and you know when we're adding suffixes, things on the end, we have to change the Y to something, all right, before we do anything. So we have itchier, itchiest, or more itchier. Okay, let's see. The rash was blank than any mosquito bite I had ever had. Okay, so we're comparing the rash to a mosquito bite. Let's see. The rash was itchier than any mosquito bite. The rash was itchiest than any mosquito bite. Or the rash was more itchier than any mosquito bite. Okay, so this one has it in the front and in the back. Does that make sense? More itchier, most bestest. My dog is the most craziest dog around, or just craziest, I don't know. Okay, next one. Less, lesser, fewer, fewest. Ooh, okay, let's try this one. Luckily, 2 days later, I had blank spots than I had at first. I had less spots than I had at first. I had lesser spots than I had at first. I had fewer spots than I had at first. Or I had fewest spots than I had at first. Looks like you're down to 2 options, I think. Less or fewer. You tell me which one you like better. Boy, this week's test is going to be a bear. Oh, that's a metaphor, right? Okay. Anyways, here we go. Uh-oh, not again. Less, few, least, fewer. Okay. Number 5. I needed blank lotion than before. I needed less lotion than before. I needed few lotion than before. I needed least lotion than before, or I needed fewer lotion than before. Let's see. Lotion is singular. I needed less lotion, few lotion, least lotion, or fewer lotion. I got it. Okay, next one. I like these. Best, good, better, gooder. Gooder. Okay, here we go. I felt much best. I felt much good. I felt much better, or I felt much gooder. Listen, these are tough ones, but I know you can do it. You dominated the first week. I didn't mention this is week 3. I had you skip week 2 because we were getting inundated. We're getting flooded with quizzes. I want to get these quizzes done so we can do a great job on our Washington, D.C. project. Have some fun. Okay? So it's Monday morning. This is the only thing you have to do today. These 2. There's 4 questions here. There's 6 questions here. I believe it's going to be a beautiful day. So let's make sure that we get our work done. Check in with me on your Washington, D.C. project. Make sure we're doing a great job, and we'll go from there. Okay? Have a great day. I hope to see you guys soon and in person. And I hope you guys are staying safe, and staying well, and being good to your family.